Garlic is so easy to grow, but with so many varieties available, it's hard deciding on which one to grow. But with a little bit of information, your decision might be a little bit easier. So join me as I help you choose the garlic that's best for you. Hi, I'm GardenerScott, and these are 12 of the different varieties of garlic that I plan to grow this year. They look quite similar, but they're actually quite different. This Carpathian is a hardneck variety that's quite spicy. This Chet's Red Italian is a soft neck variety, which is actually kind of mild. They're at opposite ends of the spectrum as far as the type of garlic they are and how they taste. So how did I decide on these, and how can you decide on yours? Well, let's get down to the basics. There are two types of garlic, and all garlic varieties will fall within those two types. You have one like this Carpathian. It's a hard neck variety of garlic. It's a hard neck because the center stalk that grows out of it is pretty hard. It looks like this. It does bend, but after it dries, it gets pretty hard. So inside this hard neck type of variety, and all hard neck types, will be a center core that's pretty woody. It typically has larger cloves that surround that inner hard core. The soft neck varieties grow very similarly with all the leaves coming out of the middle. But when they're ready for harvest, the stalk is soft. It's not nearly as hard as the other type. These are the type of garlics that you typically see braided together and hanging from walls in kitchens and restaurants, because a soft neck is easy to braid together, whereas a hard neck, not so much. The soft necks have usually more cloves than a hard neck, but typically they're smaller, and different sizes will reside within a single bulb. The size of the individual cloves may be an important factor for you in deciding which variety to choose. And so knowing right off the bat that typically the hardneck varieties have a bigger clove may mean that you're looking for a hardneck variety. But there's lots of other factors as well. How are the winters in your area? Hardneck varieties do very well with cold, harsh winters. But softneck varieties do very well in areas with warmer winters. So you may want a hardneck variety because you like the size of the bulb, but if you live in a warm climate, it might not do as well. You might need to go with a softneck variety. And how are you going to use the garlic after you harvest it? Are you going to use it all at once, or do you want to store it? Well, softneck varieties actually store quite well. Some varieties up to 9 or 10 months. Hardneck varieties, well, they don't store as well. Some varieties might only last 3 or 4 months. That's an important question to ask yourself as well. How are you going to use it? And do you need to store it? That's going to influence which type you choose. About now you might be thinking, but Scott, this is already too complicated. I only want to grow garlic to use in the kitchen, like that stuff I buy from the store. What kind of garlic is that? Well, typically what you're finding in a store is a soft neck variety from California. It's called California White, and much of it is grown in Gilroy, California. I've been to the Gilroy Garlic Festival. It's amazing, and I highly recommend it. The question to consider, if that's the type of garlic that you want to grow, what are your conditions like? Gilroy is in Central California. Pretty hot summers and pretty mild winters. Does that match your garden? If it does, then by all means grow California white garlic and you'll get exactly what you're used to from the store. But if your winters are a little harsher than that, then maybe the California white isn't the best choice. When it comes time to choose your garlic for your garden, the name of the variety can be quite helpful, like that California white. Texas Rose is another one that the name says how it will do. If you live in a hot, dry area like Texas, Texas Rose might be a good option. But if you live in a northern United States region, well then maybe you want to pick something like Siberian. Siberian is a Russian variety that comes from Siberia, and it does quite well in very cold areas. If your climate is more Mediterranean, well then the Chet's Red Italian or the Spanish Roja might be a good choice. The name helps. It doesn't tell you everything. One of the best ways to decide what garlic is best for your garden is to ask the gardeners in your area what they grow. I'm very lucky to have a local garlic expert as a gardening friend of mine, and I actually got some of this garlic from him. I filmed him and he gave some of his recommendations. So let me share that with you right now.
Okay, here's some of my garlics that I've harvested this season. Some are hardnecks and some are softnecks. The softnecks store a little longer than the hardnecks, but the hardnecks I think have a little more flavor. And this one's Georgian Fire, comes from the Republic of Georgia. It's got a little heat to it. Then I've got Chet's Italian, and this is a softneck variety, and this one is really good for baking. You know, I really enjoy that. That was a nice one for us here. Inchelium Red, Siberian, and Spanish Roja are some of our most aromatic garlics. I mean, these are just so flavorful. So, you know, plant a variety and enjoy them.
That was my buddy Larry, and he really knows a lot about garlic, and he grows a lot of garlic. He has his own gardening website, thegardenfather.com, and I suggest that you check it out because every day he offers great gardening advice. Larry touched on an important factor in choosing your garlic, and that's the taste. You can match a variety perfectly with your climate, but if you don't like the taste, well, then it's not worth it at all. So what are you looking for? Well, typically the hardneck varieties have a lot more taste than the softneck varieties. In fact, the first time you eat some of those hardneck varieties compared to what you usually get in the store, it's enough to virtually blow your mind. And they can actually be pretty hot, pretty spicy. A Romanian Red or a Siberian or a Georgian Fire are all the Russian varieties that are pretty spicy and can really add a unique taste to the dishes that you make. If you like to roast garlic for that sweet garlicky flavor after a bulb has been roasted, well, there are some varieties that actually taste exceptionally well roasted, like Music and Metechi and Kettle River and Inchelium Red. If that's what you're looking for in a garlic, then those might be some of the varieties to look for. If you're using your garlic raw in the kitchen and you cut it up and you want something that's easy to peel, well then maybe you'll look for something like an Italian Purple or a Spanish Roja or a Music, because they tend to be easier to peel than a lot of other varieties. So I've already thrown a lot of names at you for garlic varieties, and there are hundreds more. Depending on the source, there are over 600 or 700 different cultivated varieties in the world. One internet source lists 175 different named varieties that are available to the common gardener. The names that I've mentioned are the ones that Larry and I typically grow. But what if you don't have a gardening garlic guy like me or Larry? Well, you can turn to the internet and you can turn to the seed catalogs that you might already be ordering seeds from. I can go to the Territorial Seed Catalog, one of my favorites, and look at all of the many garlics they have, including the Georgian Fire, but they've got Mount St. Helens and Uzbekistan, a German Red. They've got pages and pages of different types of garlic varieties that you can choose from. Mid to late summer is the ideal time to be looking for the garlic that you want to put in your garden. And online is a great option for getting your garlic bulbs. Another good option is a local nursery. Typically, they'll be carrying the varieties that do best in your area. The difference is that a nursery might carry 6, maybe 10 different varieties of garlic for you to choose from. But on the internet, you've got a selection of dozens from any particular seed catalog. The hardest part is just deciding which one. The internet is great for describing what it is that you're looking for. It gives pictures of the garlic. It tells how it tastes. It tells if it's a hardneck or a softneck variety. And many of the sites will give you a good idea of which climates the garlic will do best in. Mid to late summer is the best time to do this because it's mid-fall that we're typically planting our garlic. And garlic sells out pretty quickly because there's a lot of gardeners that want to plant it. So get a jump on things by starting early and going to your nursery or going online and start asking some of those questions and start finding some information that only the internet can give you. Have you heard of elephant garlic? Well, that's one that a lot of gardeners like to grow. It's not technically a garlic. It's neither hardneck nor softneck. It's actually a type of leek that has a big bulb and a very slight garlicky flavor. So, for something quite unique that you can show off, grow some elephant garlic. It's called that because the bulb is substantially bigger than a typical garlic bulb. Okay, I know your head is probably swimming with all of these names of garlic varieties and it's too much to choose from right now. And you don't have someone to ask and the internet is just too daunting because there's too much to choose from. Well, it comes down to the hardneck and softneck and what works best for your particular garden. For me, to you, my top 3 recommendations for what garlic I think you should grow the first time if you want to grow garlic is music. That's my favorite. It's got great taste, it roasts well, it cooks well, and it's pretty readily available. Another one is Spanish Roja. You can find that almost anywhere. I've seen it in every nursery that I've looked, along with Inchelium Red. That's also a very popular garlic variety. So, music, Spanish Roja, and Inchelium Red, you can probably find one of those 3 at your nursery. And you can definitely find all 3 at most seed catalog sites within the United States. In Europe, you can find some of those as well. Spanish Roja is pretty readily available, but I understand music can be difficult to find in Great Britain. But that gives you a start of some of the common types that may give you a good crop of garlic after you plant. And when you find that variety that you like best of all because it's easy to grow in your area or it tastes great or it's good for roasting or easy to peel or you just like the color, well then save it every year. All of this garlic that's been sitting in front of me was harvested just a couple months ago. for the purpose of planting this year. None of it was purchased. In fact, I'm going to buy a couple varieties this year just to try something new. But other than those few, all 12 of these varieties have been saved from growing in years past. And this Spanish Roja right here, it's going to give me at least 10 new garlic plants. And each of the bulbs that I harvest from those plants will give me about 10 more plants the next year. So just think about the math of it. This one bulb with 10 cloves will give me 10 plants. And each of those 10 plants will give me 10 bulbs. That's 100 plants. So this single bulb in 2 years will give me 100 bulbs to save, to eat, to plant, whatever I choose to do with it. And I can continue to do this with all of these varieties year after year. If you have any comments or questions about choosing garlic, I know it can be hard, but just ask. If you'd like to see more of these gardening videos, well then subscribe to the GardenerScott channel if you haven't already done so. And be sure to click on the bell so you know when new videos are coming out. If you like this video and garlic, well then give me a thumbs up and share it. I'm GardenerScott. Enjoy gardening.